Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. First of all, thank you very much, Sayyidi, for the invitation, and Dr. Saab, obviously, and also everyone, thank you for attending the lecture today. Yeah, so Sayyidi Nasr was introducing some guy here. Now we need to find where is this guy now? Where is he now? Somewhere. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, okay, Sayyidi, this issue of black magic, there are several things that we have to consider. We do have today, we're really honored to have Sister Saiqa. She is expert in the psychology. Sometimes black magic and, the symptoms of magic and symptoms of psychological problems will look like each other. Okay? And also sometimes the physical illness and the black magic also looks like each other. Obviously today we will try our best to draw a line where is the psychological problem and where is the actual black magic. And also the same thing is about the physical illnesses. Okay, so inshallah today we're going to... So anyway, just to cover all of the issues, the details related to the black magic, only 4 or 5 hours in one day will not be sufficient, but will do our best. Okay, and at the end today, inshallah, also we're going to learn some ruqya. Okay, because in our time, for some reason, it's very widely spread. So we're going to learn some ruqyas as protection, but also as maybe to help out one another. Okay, because in our time, maybe it's very difficult to find some expert in the field. Okay, I know some people, for example, I know a family from South. They're waiting for me since something about 3 years. I'm not having time for that. Okay, they're saying that they have been in quite few places, but everyone is busy. So why to go to someone when we can learn by ourselves? Obviously, it will require some certain discipline. Okay, so you have to avoid some certain things, and you have to make some certain practices. Okay, so you have to be consistent with the recitation. For example, after Fajr, before sunrise. Okay, and you have to do the recitation at night when everyone is asleep. Tahajjud. Okay, for a certain amount of a time, you build up your spiritual strength and you are ready to go out to make ruqya. Okay, so that is all about. So anyway, you have worksheets in front of you. So as I will be explaining, you should take a note just for your own benefit. Okay, because today, as you can see, the course is very intensive. Okay, I don't want you to forget any of what we're going to discuss here today. So I want, if everyone has got a pen, it's entirely up to you if you want to take a note or etc. So, okay, now black magic. What do we know about black magic? Can anyone help me, please? What do you know about black magic? Okay, so now one thing, we know that it's black. So means it's from Africa. But what about the meaning of magic? African magic. What's the magic? When I was in Uzbekistan, Africa was associated for me with banana. So it's African banana. So what's black magic? What do you understand? Yeah, so today you came to the lecture to learn about something. So what is that thing? So what are you expecting to learn about? Yeah, so what is magic? What do we know about magic?
Shaykh, in our Pakistani...
Yes, Sayyidi?
In the Pakistani community, there's a lot of ideas about, someone can magic on someone, or someone's got a Shaykh in Pakistan for a reason.
Yes, yeah, exactly, yes. What do they do? I mean, what happens?
In regards to the victim or...
No. I mean, so this term of magic, what does it refer to?
It's almost like they're putting a spell on them, haven't they? That's kind of the idea, right?
Yes, yeah, definitely. Yes, yeah, it is ritual. Definitely, it is ritual. Yes, exactly. That's what the magic is. So it is some type of ritual performed to result in harming someone. Harm could affect the marriage or job or health, or even it can actually kill. Okay, so that is maybe a very quick explanation of the magic. But then my question to you guys. So if someone does magic to me for my health, so can magic result in producing a stone in my kidney? Can magician do that? My question to you guys. So I'm magician, I want to harm you. I want to make a stone in your kidney. Can I do it as a magician? Anyone? No?
I think it's possible.
It's possible. Yeah, why not? Why not? Okay. Yes, Sadie.
Maybe you can't use the stone, however, you can perhaps influence the person to lead an unhealthy lifestyle, which would lead to...
That's what magic does. Thank you, Sadie. Obviously, big number of scholars said it does. Physical thing. As you said. What's your name, Sadie? Here. Sadie Masroor. And? Yourself. Sadie Asim. Sadie Masroor. So, as you said, Sadie Masroor, some scholars say that it actually does the physical effect. Okay, so they went to the extension of saying, mainly our Maliki and Shafi'i and Hanbali ulama, they said magic actually can turn the substance, so it can turn the human into the donkey. It's the Shafi'i, Maliki and Hanbali stance. But our Hanafi Mashayikh said, as Sayyidi Asim said, it only affects on the brain. That is the black magic. Understand? So today, inshallah, we will be explaining each single issue based on both of the schools. Shafi'i, Maliki, Hanbali on one side and the Hanafi on the other side. So the Hanafi Mashayikh said the magic, its effect is real, but on the brain. Okay, for example, you think that in front of you there is very scary animal. In the reality, it does not exist. It's just hallucination in your brain. It is the effect of the magic. But our Maliki Mashayikh and Shafi'i Mashayikh, they said no, it actually exists. So that huge thing exists. Possibly it is jinn, as Dr. Saab mentioned. Okay. So anyway, that is very brief introduction to what we are going to discuss today. So the worksheet in front of you, you have is it live? Amina, is it live?
No, it's not live. It's going to be sent as a recording.
Yeah, because time to time I do make some jokes. I don't want them to be offended, you know. So
you can do whatever you want. It's
yeah,
going to be edited.
edited.
Right,
Exactly. No, because sometimes some students they deserve danda, you know. I do danda, you know. I do danda.
If anyone needs a pen, I want these back in mine. Pen, pencil.
Okay, Sadie. Okay, so as you can see, because of the limited time, today I'm going to discuss 9 types of magic, the most commonly practiced amongst us Muslims. 9 types of magic, and I'm going to mention the relevant verses and ahadith. And also at the end, inshallah, we are going to learn some of the ruqyas as a protection. Okay, inshallah. Do you have any of the brothers or sisters who practice ruqya? Anyone who does ruqya? Okay, Sadie. So the first type of magic, it is the magic of separation, separating. Okay, so this type of magic actually mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah. Okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions. If you remember the story of Harut and Marut. Okay, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم فيتعلمون منهما ما يفرقون به بين المرء وزوجه وما هم بضارين به من أحد إلا بإذن الله ويتعلمون ما يضرهم ولا ينفعهم صدق الله العظيم. So, so these two beings, okay, if they are angels, as some scholars said, or if it is just two jinns whose name was, okay, Harut, Allah Alam, okay, but Quran explicitly says that it is two angels. Anyway, so the people used to go to these two beings to learn black magic. But what type of magic? ما يفرقون به بين المرء وزوجه. So some certain rituals and recitations to split up between two couples, husband and wife. You know, Quran mentions only this type in Surah Al-Baqarah, but it does not mean that it's limited to it. It's one of the most common ones. And possibly in Babylon, in ancient Babylon, maybe this was the most commonly practiced one. Wallahu alam. Okay, separating between the husband and wife. Now, question. What are the symptoms of you being affected by this type of magic? Okay, so we call it in Arabic language سحر التفريق, separating, magic of separating. I'm going to mention, so if you have some of the symptoms, don't worry, black magic is very easy to be removed. One of the most common symptom is all of a sudden person turns. So he becomes upside down with regards to his wife or husband. So for example, if I am affected by this type of magic, so I'm very normal with my wife, but all of a sudden, overnight, I will start hating her. There is no any explanation, okay? So I do not have mental problems or, for example, health issues. No, there is no any reason. Or I did not lose my job, but all of a sudden, overnight, next day, my behavior towards my wife will change. No reason. Unexplainable. Okay, so that is the first symptom. Okay, it's quite common. And the second is, it's also very common because we said the black magic, its main effect is on the brain. So all the time the affected person will have evil thoughts about the spouse. Okay, so evil thought could be about anything. Okay, look, my wife right now is cooking, but she's putting something in my food. She wants to kill me. She wants to get rid of me. Well, just yesterday he was normal with her. No, but today she started doing strange things, you know. Okay, and at night, you are just sleeping in the bed. She just goes out for the toilet. Okay, straight away. Now she's going to bring some weapon, some knife to kill me. So ill thoughts, evil thoughts about your spouse. Okay, and also incorrect interpretation to what she says. Incorrect interpretation. Okay, so she says, I'm going to visit my mother today. I will come back tomorrow. So you give incorrect interpretation. Okay, so she's going somewhere to do something. Could be to me or something wrong. So incorrect, evil interpretation to what she says. Okay, or for example, she says, you look a bit tired today. So interpretation goes, you know, the person who's affected by magic, so now my wife is saying that I'm ugly. She didn't say that you're ugly. She said that you look tired. No, she's saying that I look like a monkey. You know, she's saying that I'm tired, so it means, you know, so I look ugly. I'm ugly. That's what she did not say that. Incorrect interpretation to the normal statements of your spouse. And also, you become, if you are affected by this type of magic, you will start provoking hatred. You will start provoking, you can say, breach of good relationship between you and your spouse. Okay, so just food, everything is perfect. Just in order to provoke that hatred between you, so you pick on anything. Oh, there is not enough salt. Oh, do you think that so just you make issue out of nothing. Okay, provoking the hatred, provoking the issues which will separate between you and him. And also, another symptom is also, all of a sudden you become stubborn. Whatever she says, no. So, but before you was affected, it was just normal. She used to say, okay, I'm going for my work. You will say no. Just stubbornness. Okay, I want to buy a new clothes, new dress. She says it. You say no. Stubbornness. Impossible to convince you. Impossible to change your opinion. All of a sudden, stubborn. And also, another thing is, you will start thinking about unfaithfulness, that your spouse is unfaithful. Okay, you try to find a reason. So before you was affected, she used to do that, and you was okay with it. But after you been affected, so all of that for you means that she has been unfaithful. Okay, so for example, she goes to the kitchen just to get water for you, but she stays there for a bit longer. What she was doing? Straight away you think, she was texting, love messages. Who is that person? Straight away you will start making that type of conclusions. Because your brain is affected, influenced, so you lose healthy way of thinking. All of a sudden, your friends become your enemies and your enemies become your friends. You will be unable to distinguish between your friends and enemies. Okay, your friend will come for advice. I mean, he will advise you. Okay, so he will say, actually, I've been told that you're acting a bit strangely. Straight away. So the person to whom my wife was texting, it was you. Understand? So unhealthy way of thinking. Understand? So lightest thing for you becomes heaviest, and the heaviest becomes the lightest. Okay, so healthy way of thinking is down. And also, another thing, you will be, sometimes we do have these non-socializing people. They do not have social skills. Okay? But the person who is affected by magic, so it's not only this, but any other type of magic, so he becomes like that. So for example, you may expect that he will go to the janazah and he may laugh there. Or he will go to the wedding and he may cry there. Understand? So not knowing the social norms. So being socially unhealthy. Unhealthy behavior socially. Social unhealthy behavior. Okay? But permanently, all the time. Okay? So these are the common symptoms of the magic of separation. And also another thing which is also common, but not as common. For example, when you are outside, you are perfectly fine. But as soon as you see your wife, you feel tightness. There is no reason. Okay, food is ready, very nice, house is tidy, but yet whenever you see her or whenever you come back to your place, you feel tightness, but you don't understand the reason. Okay, that's one thing. Another thing could be that spouses, so they can see each other unattractive or even very ugly. Okay, or to the point of being disgusting. Okay, so for example, let's suppose that I'm affected by magic, by this type of magic. So normal behavior of my wife will start irritating me. Okay, for example, just sneezing. Then I will start thinking about this mucus, about this phlegm, So normal things which she used to do before, and I was fine with it. But now it becomes, for example, she goes to the toilet, and then I will start thinking, what is she doing? And then I will start thinking about that, the poo, waste, urine, how it smells like. And do you understand? That type of things. Okay? So, or I may see that, for example, the nose is very big. And then I will start associating that with a crow. and she looks like a crow because very big nose. Understand? So anything which, anything just to make her to look like a monster, or same thing other way around also. Understand? So, but before I was affected, everything was normal. Everything was perfectly fine. Okay? So means these are the symptoms of this type of magic. Okay? The magic of separation. Everything is fine, Sayyidi? I didn't do my danda yet, but it's going to be. Few deserve it today.
Sheikh, I would say, whenever you want to break, just take the break. Inshallah, 25-minute break.
Yeah.
Lunch, we'll inshallah arrive at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. Yeah. Yes, yeah. 1 o'clock. Okay, so we'll have about 40 minutes, inshallah. Hey Allah. Okay, so inshallah we're going to just finish this chapter, the first type of magic, by the hadith. Okay, Rasulullah says that obviously the main Iblis, okay, the person, the jinn, okay, the Iblis, who has been ordered to low down and show respect to Adam alayhi salatu wasalam and did not do. So now this being now is actually in the position of the main head and has got a lot of servants, shayateen. Okay, Rasulullah says that it will be just having conversation with the slaves, servants, jinnat, shayateen. Okay, and some of them will come saying, today I have done such and such. Okay, so then Iblis will say, well, you didn't do anything. Well, what you have done is not noticeable. And second and third and fourth, until one of them will come saying, today I have separated between two couples, husband and wife. The main Iblis will be very, very pleased, very, very happy. Okay, so means there is, so it's not only the magician who will be trying, okay, to separate you from your spouse, but also shayateen back up this mission because they love it. Okay, they will be very pleased by it. Okay, if you remember, Rasulullah says, أبغض الحلال إلى الله الطلاق أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام, means the most disliked thing to God, the disliked lawful thing to God is divorce. So divorce is valid, but it is lawful. You have a right to divorce, but God dislikes it. Okay, so there are many lawful things, joking, speaking, all of that is lawful, but the most hated lawful thing to God is divorce. Okay, so that's why shayateen back up that mission. Okay, divorce. Obviously, the next type of magic is also related to the previous one, but it is more specific. Okay, so the magician, this one, in my own experience, it is more performed in Middle East. Till today, I did not see in the UK. The first one is everywhere, here in the Middle East, but the second one is the most common in the Middle East. Okay, so I would call it tying up. Okay, so the magic of tying up. So it is so after the marriage, couples will be unable to consummate the marriage. We are going to discuss the details. Okay, so before we move on, I want to ask you, do you know anyone who is going through something similar to the first point, the first type? Or maybe you have been through that type of thing. Okay. So the main aim of the next one is, the magic of tying is just to split up the couples. Okay, you know, it's quite common. Do you know envy the main engine of this magic is envy. For example, let's suppose that I want to marry this lady. I made proposal, but she refused to marry me, but then she married someone else. Now I want to take revenge. I don't like it. So it's envy. So I want to break it. Okay? So just to separate them. It's not for the sake of that. After the divorce, I will marry, but only for the sake of one thing. Why she says no to me and marries that other guy? Just harming. Okay? So maybe if this person who is doing the magic to separate them, if he was planning to marry her, well, it's not permissible, but you could understand. But most of the time, the person who separates them, he doesn't even think of marrying her after the separation. Just harming the couple, just taking revenge, just to pleasing the ego. So because you as a man, if you are told no, so that humiliates you, isn't it? So you want to restore your ego by ruining this marriage. Okay, so it's quite satanic, I would say. Okay, it's quite satanic behavior. Okay, Sadie. Hey Allah. So what normally happens? One of the main symptoms is so marriage is agreed. Okay, couples are fine. Parents are fine also. But when it comes to do the walima, the wedding, okay, or to proceed, either a lady or either the young man, they feel very strange. They cry maybe, okay, or they feel depressed, some pain in the heart, okay, or they want to commit a suicide. If you ask them, there is no reason. Okay, so the spouse, the potential spouse, or the one with whom it was agreed, very good person from both sides. They're very suitable one to another. But when they want to proceed, making walima, or if walima is done to consummate it, or to take her to his house to start living together, so they feel a tightness, I mean depression, okay, suicidal, okay, so painful in the heart. Okay, so it could be that most of the time it is done on the ladies, okay, so everything is fine, walima is also done, and then a young man comes, now it is the time to take her to his house to live together. But she refuses to go, insults him, shouts, makes scandal, so shouting, screaming, crying, okay, or even physical offense, beating, okay, biting, okay. We need to see if someone's ear is bitten, so that guy had said, can you show me your ear, please? I saw it. Said, ask him, it's you. Yeah? We all say no, but we know, you know.
I'm not even married yet.
Well, it's the best defense, you know, best defense. Yeah, so she becomes very, very, I don't know, what do they call it? Nasty behavior, doing scandal. But in the beginning, when proposal came, she was very happy, smiling, etc. Because black magic is performed afterwards, and then he makes the magic, and then she starts thinking about evil things, okay? And then she will start opposing the marriage, which she already confirmed, okay? So that is one of the symptoms. And another thing could be, it is the couples cannot consummate the marriage. Okay, so either the young man has some certain problem, sexual impotence, or either from the lady's side. They go to the doctors, they make all of the tests, everything comes perfectly fine. But when it is the time to go to do it, to perform it, no erection, or she cannot do it, she does not desire it. Okay, but and also obviously it is just for you to know. So if he will move towards some other lady, he is perfectly fine. He can do it. But his own wife, no. Sexual impotence. So, but when you go to doctors, they find nothing. Everything's perfectly fine. Okay, means it is only specifically to this lady. Okay, or from her side, it could be that she will be continuously bleeding. So anything which you can say blocks, stops the sexual intercourse. Okay, or it could be that sometimes young lady, so her girlfriends, they joke, they just make fun with her, convincing her that it is very painful. So she could be scared because of that. So that's understandable. But sometimes, as an effect of the magic, so she will be. So whenever he will come to consume, so she will scream, she will cry. Okay, or she will not be going for it. She will not accept. Okay, to do it. Okay, or sometimes it could be that she becomes like sculpture. She does not feel anything. Okay, so for example, presexual discharge, nothing happens. She totally feel, and actually she will feel pain also. Okay, so all of these could be symptoms for this type of magic. Okay, actually there is this hadith. Okay, one of the ladies came to Rasulullah ﷺ saying, "Ya Rasulullah, I bleed continuously. So what shall I do with my prayer? So is it monthly bleeding or what is that?" Okay, so according to the narration, Rasulullah ﷺ said, "Innama hiya raqda." Okay, means it is just kicking. Okay, Satan has performed. So based on that, the scholars, the mashayikh, they say that continuous bleeding could be as an effect of the magic also. Okay, so that could be another thing. And also another symptom could be, obviously you can just detect it. Okay, for example, from your wife, or your wife can detect in you. So all of a sudden, so sexually you was very fit, sexually you was very active. All of a sudden, now it became just not interested. All of a sudden. So it's not that gradually, because of age, because of you are very busy, but everything was perfectly fine. And all of a sudden, one day it stops and you never perform it anymore. So your spouse can straight away understand that could be black magic. It could be black magic. In my own experience, most of this type of thing, like it's done in the Middle East. I don't know why. Okay, so the next one is third type of magic. So it is about physical illnesses. As we said, magician cannot affect on you physically in terms of, for example, you do not have a tumor, all of a sudden he recites something and then you will get a tumor. No, that does not happen, according to our school of thought, Hanafi. But according to our Maliki, Shafi and Hanbali mashayikh, it can happen. Okay, so it is, we can say, disagreed upon issue. But according to us, no. The magic is only affecting on the brain. Okay, so you feel pain, but you're not ill. You go to the doctors, they find nothing. Okay, so there is this hadith just to back up our position, as a Hanafi position, Sayyidah Aisha, most likely this incident happened after the death of Rasulullah, after a while. Sayyidah Aisha all of a sudden became very ill. She tried all of the doctors, nothing helped. Okay, and then the narrator says, once this Sindhi person came. Do I have Sindhi people? Sind. Sind in that time means entire subcontinent, but in our time, a specific place. Sind, isn't it? Sind.
I mean, the India.
India.
Pakistan, the province.
Exactly. It's in Pakistan. It's just below Rawalpindi.
No, it's on the west.
On the west. Okay. Okay. I had my teacher, Mufti Abdul Samia. He was Sindhi. He was a very handsome person, actually. He has been killed. Very handsome. Dark skin, but I don't know. It's not brown, but darkness. I don't know how to say. Bronze. Do you know this color? Very handsome person. Passed away, rahimahullah. He was the Imam of Sarf. Yeah, so Arabic language. He was just amazing, unbeatable. He has been assassinated in 1997. Okay, Sayyidi. Okay, so this Indian person came to visit Sayyidah Aisha. And when he came, he said she has been affected by magic. Okay, well, Sayyidah Aisha said, because she was ill for a while. So Indian person came, most likely it is a new Muslim, came to visit the Sahaba. Okay, Sayyidah Aisha is the head of the Sahaba, Ummul Mu'mineen. So he went, that Indian person went to the Hujra of Sayyidah Aisha and straight away said, Inna ummakum matbuba. Ummul Mu'mineen is affected by magic. Sayyidah Aisha said, so who is the one who did it? Okay, and then that person said, it is a female, it is a lady. And then he described her physically. How tall, slim, dark skin, etc. And then he said, actually, right now, she is holding a newborn baby, and newborn baby did pass water on her. Sayyidah Aisha straight away understood, who is he talking about? And then she said, where is my she-slave, my servant, she-slave? She came and she was wet. It was actually that baby. Then Sayyidah Aisha said, did you do magic on me? That she-slave said, yes. Why? Because she was mudabbara. Mudabbara, it is, you can say Arabian. You can say ritual they used to do to their slaves. She-slaves or just normal slaves. Mudabbar means, I will say to my slave, when I will die, you are free. So that is mudabbar. So she has done that, Sayyidah Aisha has done that to this she-slave, saying, when I die, you are free. So Sayyidah Aisha said, why did you do the black magic on me? So that she-slave said, well, because I really wanted to be free as soon as possible. So she wanted to kill Sayyidah Aisha. Okay, do you know what Sayyidah Aisha has done to her? What do you think? Would you? I mean, if it would be me, I know what I would do, Kima, just a bit more of, Exactly. Sayyidah Aisha said, just you are free. Yeah. I remember about 5-6 years ago, I met this person who has been doing the ruqya here. Okay, I don't know if it's right or wrong. So he told me that in the UK, in the law, they are considering of involving this issue, the black magic, as valid crime. Well, I don't know how you can detect it, how you can prove it. It's really strange. Okay, but in Islamic fiqh, they do have it. Okay, some of the imams, some of the scholars say that if it is confirmed, so then it could cause revenge also. If death is confirmed to be from the black magic, so there could be revenge also. Okay, so but from my side, I know it's nearly impossible. So in Hanafi school, there is only one way of proving that person has done magic. What is the way? What do you think?
50% accept.
Exactly. That is our Hanafi position. But Hanbalis, mashallah, they have just expanded. Okay, so even if they find a paper in your house with strange writing, they will straight away sentence you to death because you are a magician. And magician, according to Hanbali school, deserves death. Okay, and even some of the branch of Hanafi school, they also, Imam Abu Yusuf said that magician will be killed. Death penalty. So anyway, just you can go to YouTube and you can watch Catching the Magicians in Saudi. They just expanded, you know. Sometimes it's just genuine scholar, you know. You know, for example, even in our herbal medicine, we use that, you know, table. Do you understand? Because we have to detect the illness. So we use the table. Okay? And then we use technical term. Do you understand? So we never speak, for example, in Saudi language, saying, he has got fire in his heart. We do not say that. But we say, ha. Understand? So that means it is the hot illness. Do you understand? So means even herbalists can get killed. Yes. That is not fair. Okay. Do you know, actually, we have got this opinion about studying, learning the black magic. Is it permissible or not? What do you think? Hanafi, our position, we say no, it's not permissible. Imam Razi, do you know about this person, Imam Razi? Fakhruddin Razi. Radiallahu. For me, he's one of the most greatest Shafi'i scholars. Okay, so there are few actually. We have Imam Ghazali, we have him, and we have got Abu Sa'id ibn Abi al-Khair. He was not a scholar, but he was one. So anyway, Imam Razi is one of the top. So he says, it's wajib for the sultan or for the qadi to involve one person to study the black magic so that people can know what is magic and what is not. Because even in Shafi'i school, they issue death penalty for the magician. Just to be sure that it is actual magic or it's not magic, you have to know it. So Imam Razi said it's wajib to study. Okay, but it is their position. Okay, so anyway, but in our Hanafi school, there is only one way. It is only by admitting. Magician saying, yes, I'm magician and I did kill this person. Only then we can issue a revenge. Okay, so anyway, so physical illness, the same story of Sayyidah Aisha is narrated by many Sahaba. Okay, by many Tabi'in, sorry. So in one of the narrations, it says that Sayyidah Aisha became ill for a very long time. And she would go to different herbalists. They would not detect any illness. Because as we said, it's only in the brain, you know. You feel that there is pain in your heart. But you go for the test, there is nothing. So you think that you have it. Understand? Okay, for example, what do you think about the dream? Sometimes the dream could be so real that you actually feel it. Yeah? So for example, someone is kicking your back. Okay, you wake up and you actually feel the pain, you know, but there is nothing. No one was kicking you. It's just psychologically. Do you know, for example, hypnosis? So by manipulating your brain, person can actually convince you that you do not have, for example, a hand. Just hypnosis. So means brain of a human is very strange thing, you know. Are we close to the time, Sayyidi? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm not saying anything. We've got half an hour.
Okay. Yeah. By affecting on your brain, everything could be done, you know. Okay, so also, have you seen hypnosis? Through the hypnosis, do you know this expert? So he will convince you that you are paralyzed. So you cannot move your hand. Well, before he started the session, you was doing perfectly fine, you know. You are not ill. But it will stay. The effect will stay for quite long. You know, as far as I remember, is averagely between half an hour to 1.5 an hour. You know, in the hypnosis. But in in the magic, it looks like to be a bit longer. A bit longer. So, Sayyidah Aisha goes to different herbalists. All of them say, you are perfectly fine. We're not finding anything. Until she hits this guy. Could be that he used to do in both of the fields, herbal medicine and ruqya also. So when he tests her, she says, it is magic. It's not physical illness, but it is a magic. Okay. So as you can see, so that is the, you can say, a line between the magic and the actual physical illness. In the physical illness, you go to the doctors, they detect the illness, they detect the reason. Okay. But if it's just illness caused by the magic, so you go to the doctors, you do not find it. Okay. Inshallah, we're going to discuss the symptoms. So for example, most of the time it is lower back pain. If you do not sit a lot, you are not the taxi driver, or you do not do the office work, lower back pain, okay, or heavy shoulders, or moving pain. Look, moving pain most of the time is because of the gases. Okay, so if you burp a lot, if you release wind a lot, means you are not ill. It's nothing to do with the magic. But you do not have gases, but all the time you feel that moving pain. Today is here, tomorrow is here, moving. Tomorrow is on your back. Okay, who knows the pain of the wind,
Person's
pain of the
upbringing,
gas.
Anything in the family, any traumas, and we're all in a bit of a continuum. So some of us are a little bit more anxious than other people. So some of my work will be about normalising that for people, but then showing them practical ways in which to manage anxiety.
Without your permission, I did it because she would benefit from her, you know, if you don't mind. Yeah.
So normally what we do is, I don't know if you can see in the back. Can you see in the back? I just have really dodgy handwriting. Okay, so one of the things we start by doing after taking history and assessing somebody is getting them to start connecting their thoughts, feelings and behaviours, and then mapping it out for them. So we have a situation, and in that situation we'll have certain thoughts. Okay. So if you think about what Shaykh's been talking about today, I've been trying to sort of map it in my head in relationship, especially in that first point Shaykh was making about couples. So you'll have certain thoughts, and they have a make you feel a particular way, so they impact on your mood and impact on your body, and then our behaviours. So we tend to get stuck in a bit of a cycle. Okay. So the minute we attach to things, we'll evoke certain anxiety, depression, stress, anger, irritability. It'll be affecting our bodily symptoms. If you think about the different mood states and how our body is, when we're happy, how our body is, and when we're anxious and scared, how our body is, and that will be influencing what we do and what we don't do. Now, as human beings, we are driven by our emotions, so we just act on our emotions a lot. So one of the things I tend to do is slow that process down for that person, so it buys them time to think about what's going on, what am I thinking, how's it impacting on me, tolerate the anxiety, because people tend to feel scared about the anxiety symptoms. You know, your fight and flight's kicked off, your adrenaline's going off, heart rate, sweating, palpitations, so they experience a lot of physical symptoms. And people don't like that, they try to push that feeling away. So they might avoid situations. So when you're feeling anxious, you avoid situations, your anxiety will come down. Or what they might do is, a lot of our young people like doing cannabis, things like that, to regulate their emotions. They get into certain habits, alcohol, drugs, self-harming sort of behaviours. It's all about regulating the mood. So because we don't target the mood directly, we target it through these other components. So mindfulness, meditation, that will bring your heart rate down, get you to sit with whatever you're feeling, difficult emotions, tolerate what's happening, and it all buys you time really, and diffuses the situation. And then changing the behaviours to more helpful behaviours, making sure you have time out for yourself, your family, if work's taking over, and I'm a bit of a hypocrite here, trying to get that balance back. So it's anxiety is when we feel there's an equation we use, which is something like this. You have to bear with me. The risk of something bad happening. Something bad happens, and you multiply that by the awfulness. I think this is how it is. So something bad's going to happen. It's going to be really awful, divided by I can't cope with this. And therefore I need rescue factors. Okay? And because I can't cope, I might seek reassurance from people. I might ask help from other people. So one of the things that we might do is kind of look at people's resilience in a way, thinking about changing the view of themselves as actually I can cope, and I have been doing. And actually some of the things that I might be doing here to temporarily alleviate that anxiety is actually feeding back into that anxiety. That's actually making it worse. So people like, for example, like panic attacks, they'll start monitoring their heart rate, because they think they're going to, if their heart rate increases, they're going to have a heart attack and die. So one of the things they do is they monitor the heart rate. When they feel the pulse, the anxiety increases, so that actually they get stuck in a similar loop. So one of the things we might get them to do, stop those safety-seeking behaviours, like don't check your heart rate. And like once I went to a gym with somebody, because he wasn't doing anything, so me and him like had a good run on the treadmill together. So we or running up and down the stairs, getting people to exercise to increase that heart rate, and then test that belief. So CBT, we work with like thoughts and behaviours. And I'm trained more cognitively, but some people, they're just not tuned into their thoughts, so I like to get them used to doing that. But some people are really just cognitively, they just really struggle, so then we get them to change their behaviours, because there's a term called cognitive lag, and it means if you change your behaviours, ultimately your thoughts will sort of catch up. So that's like the basic CBT model, not what you were asking for, Shaykh, but it's just how it's all linked in together, and it all comes back to like, I can't cope with the situation. Because if you feel like you can cope in a situation, you probably won't get that anxious anyway. But also normalising, we're all in a continuum and it changes. How's that?
Lovely.
Okay,
Thank you
so-
very much. Obviously, I mean, this lecture requires a bit more, longer period. So the Nasser, obviously, you can take her contact details. Definitely, she needs separate crash course. It was just very, just to find the taste, just to see the difference between the black magic and the actual psychological thing.
Yeah. There's a do you know Shaykh Atabek from Glasgow? You guys familiar with it? Yeah. So we did one in Glasgow last year, and if you check the website babcp.com, it's the British Association for Behavioural Cognitive Psychotherapies. I chaired their college group. There's a video of Shaykh and I. We did a session together in Glasgow. And he talks about it from stress from an Islamic perspective, and I did it from a psychological perspective. So that's it. There's videos out there as well, but obviously more than happy to be contacted. Thank you.
Right. So anyway, what Sister Saika explained, we can understand one thing. So the genuine psychological illness, it is based on some certain
conditions. Okay, for example, you lost your job, or you, for example, broke off from the marriage, okay, or from relationship. Okay, so there is some certain rational reason which you can say relate with. Okay, but in our case there is no reason. Everything was perfectly fine. You are a businessman. You run takeaway shop. Okay, you are doing perfect business. All of a sudden you became with anxiety, anxious. Okay, so what is the reason? So there is not any of them. You are successful. People love your food. Okay, so people are ringing, with the orders. Everything is perfectly fine. All of a sudden, one day you woke up and anxiety. Anxiety, fear. Fear about anything and about everything. Okay, so it's very possible that you are sitting in your house, no one is in there, and you have anxiety and you think that some thief is just inside with a knife trying to kill you. Anxiety. There is no reason. You did not have any friction with anyone, so you do not have any reason to be scared of anything, but you are scared. Okay, it is one of the types of black magic. Okay, fear caused by nothing. You do not have any of the reasons. Okay. This is quite common actually in our society. Asians, I am part of Asian society. Uzbekistan is Asia. We do have that. Okay, so they do it. In Uzbekistan, they do it mainly by using the dust. They do the, I don't know, some certain rituals on the dust, and they just spread it on the path where you walk. So as soon as you step on it, so you're affected. So it's good. And the cause is this, anxiety. Okay. Can anyone share their experience if any of you had anxiety in your life? Yes. Was it based on some certain reasons, or was it just all of a sudden?
I became very unwell.
All of a sudden, or because of some reason?
I had a viral infection and just couldn't get on top of it, and it just, my health just deteriorated, and you kind of saw me at the back end of that.
Yes, yeah.
And the doctors and hospital didn't know what to do with me, so I spent a lot of time. Like, I used to have like 2-3 appointments at the hospital. I used to spend a lot of time trying to figure out what was happening. Not knowing, when there's uncertainty, that creates anxiety. I didn't know what was going on, and therefore I didn't know how to manage it. So my usual techniques of like getting up and just carrying on and stuff like that weren't working.
Yeah. Obviously, you are, mashallah, one of the most active ladies in the society. I really respect that. Experiencing it by yourself and coming out and trying to help out the others, that's just lovely. Yeah. I wish if we would have more courageous people like yourself. Yeah, so that's lovely. Anyway, how to detect, how to know that
two sides here. One's physical,
yeah,
and one's spiritual.
Yeah.
Just as the sister was talking.
Yeah.
Talking, you can't. I'm just thinking, if you've got a physical.
Yes.
On that basis.
Yeah.
You can't deter that. You can't say that's going to be leading to that magic or magic.
Yes. Yeah. It's
so
exactly.
The two are completely separate.
It's, it's very difficult to say it's completely separate, but sometimes it looks like each other. Unless you are expert of one of the fields, you cannot know which one is.
So you're saying one can induce the other.
Yes. So, for example, in
physical can't induce the spiritual, but the spiritual can induce the.
So for example, I can make black magic of the illness to the young man here, okay, but then he may develop further anxiety. But anxiety is not caused by me. I did cause only the physical illness, and because of the physical, so the magic is actually caused because of the physical illness is caused because of the black magic, but then anxiety came as a result to that. So I did not do the magician did not do the anxiety, but only the physical. But long-term physical illness will destroy the person, like a confidence of the person. So one can lead to another, definitely yes. Yeah. So
what I'm trying to say is the physical can't lead to spiritual. If no one's done any black magic,
yeah,
you can't say the physical is because of the black magic, because no one's done any black magic. But the black magic.
So sometimes no. But sometimes you become weak, Sayyidi. So physical illness. Someone has, let's say, kidney stone. He becomes very weak spiritually. He will be beaten by anything. Spiritual illness will come definitely. So because long-term illness will make you to lose your spiritual strength. You will stop, for example, reciting Quran, dhikr. You do not do, so spiritually you are very weak. Anything can smash you now. Just little evil eye can just kill you. So one can lead to another, yes. Somehow. It's a bit strange.
You said is the fault that someone feels suddenly and then afraid and then.
Yes.
This time many times happened with me. I'm alone in the sitting room working, and it suddenly happened, and I'm really afraid.
Yeah.
I run upstairs and close the door and sit inside.
Yeah. It could be a habit also, but one of the symptoms of this type of black magic is certain thing will scare you big time. All of a sudden, mobile phone, ring, you will start panicking, heart palpitation. Okay, or someone all of a sudden knocks the door, again, you will panic. Okay, so we all get scared, but not as that, not that aggressive reaction, extreme reaction. We do not do that. Okay, but the person who is affected, he does that all the time. So that is the magic of anxiety. Okay, so sihr al-khawf. So the symptom of the magic of anxiety is for small certain thing, extreme reaction. Okay, so for example, so she's sitting there. I will look at her, extreme reaction. So she will get scared, heart palpitation. You know, she will start panicking. Okay, so it is the magic of anxiety. Okay, the magic of anxiety. Yeah, I think inshallah we're going for a break. It's 12 o'clock. Is it 12?
1 o'clock. 1 o'clock.
Oh, we're supposed to be stopping at 12.
No, we stop at 1.
At 1, yeah. Okay. So now we're okay. So Bismillah, Alhamdulillah, Salatu Wassalamu ala Rasulillah. So another type of magic. So the previous one, it was anxiety. And the next one is lack of confidence. So this could be also one of the types of. Obviously, Sister Saqa has explained the psychological side of it. Sister Saqa, just very brief question. You know, in terms of losing confidence in the psychology, do you think you can give some explanation? Very brief one, maybe coming here. You already did speak about it. Yeah, if you want. If you don't want, I can just continue. Yes, yeah. So just to see the difference, you know, between what we're talking about and between the actual psychological thing. Thank you.
I guess for me, I see confidence linked to low self-esteem a lot. So even before, so if you see this cycle as the here and now, often I told you about we take like a full history from people growing up, just thinking about the views of themselves, that I'm weak, I'm a failure, for example, I'm not good enough. So those are what we call the core beliefs. So those are the foundations, I guess, in which they then build their lives on. So so if your foundation is I'm not good enough, anything that you do in the here and now isn't going to be good enough, and this is why perhaps people might develop traits around perfectionism. So the standards are really high, but they're not good enough. So in order for them to be good enough, they need to achieve something at 100%, which is really not very realistic. And because it's not realistic, they never achieve that. So then it reinforces that I'm not good enough. So they're in that cycle. So confidence is, I guess, in a way, it's just a skill. That the more you allow yourself to practice something, and you develop your confidence. But so I guess when we talk about that, Shaykh, are you talking more about low self-esteem here?
Yeah. So for example, the scenario in here is I was successful in everything, and all of a sudden I just lost confidence.
And then you are the expert. I came to you. I'm complaining that I cannot. I think that I can do nothing. I lost, you can say, hope in life because whatever I do, I just fail. You know.
Okay, so the way I would then work with that is looking at the different thinking styles we might use. So compare and despair is one. Critical self. I should do things to a certain standard is another should, or mostly put expectations on yourself. So when we look at different thinking styles and then we challenge those thoughts, but then we have to back up with our behaviour. So if you challenge your thoughts and you don't back it up with the action, you leave that weak. So your thoughts and your behaviours have to match. So in order to develop your confidence, you have to challenge your thoughts and then act in a way, even if you feel scared. So when I do like public speaking, especially when I first started in front of an audience, it used to create a lot of anxiety in me because I'd rather just sit behind the scenes and talk, but it just hasn't worked that way. So, but the more I've done it now, my confidence has built, but I've had to work through the anxiety and sit with it and not let it put me off either. But then, like, because we take that historical picture, you know, in like the Asian culture, they're very good at putting people down, on, especially when it comes to women speaking and girls. So then when we're in these sort of situations, all that anxiety gets activated in us.
So normally it comes
as like effect of some previous things happened in the life, isn't it?
And what I say to people is like, here we like have early experiences. Over here. Okay, so if you just. And I guess this is the one shape that you and I did in Wales last year.
You know, when you are shape, you have a lot of legs, so you don't know which one leg is just holding. You know.
It's not everyday shakes your assistants, right? So we have. And this is where I guess your developmental psychology comes in, yeah. So even though in CBT we tend to focus on the we tend to focus on the here and now in CBT, what's happening for you. But when, because at the moment I work in tertiary care, so we're working with people with trauma, so childhood trauma, or asylum seekers or refugees, so different sorts of traumas. So the childhood trauma is more attachment. So if you're neglected, you had overcritical parents, for example, what's that going to do to a child when they're growing up? They carry it with them. And so there's a vulnerability from your early experiences, which then shapes and forms your views of yourself here, others, and the world. And that's called like the cognitive triad. So when they give me statements, in my mind I'm picking up, okay, how do they see themselves? How do they see other people? So if other people are doing this, I can't cope. The world's a horrible place. If you're going to base your life around that, that'll create some problems in the here and now. So if you're like, I'm not good enough, other people are horrible, the world's just not a nice place, it's going to knock your confidence when you're doing stuff. So there's a whole developmental, and I guess what you're saying is maybe where that's not a problem there, that's not making somebody vulnerable, but it comes all of a sudden.
Exactly.
Where there's no previous sort of
So
vulnerability.
So that is in the magic. That's what we're talking about. But if there is some reason, so it will be attached to that. So I think that's what you're talking about, isn't it?
Yeah.
So traumas in the childhood, or
Yeah, and what we try to do is create a buffer. Like, I can't change those experiences. So what we say is, if I can't change those experiences, can we just create like a little buffer here, so that these previous experiences, down here, here, so that you might get activated, your vulnerabilities might get activated, but in the here and now situation, you don't have to respond in that way. How else can we respond? And then we create an alternative loop, a healthier loop that they can get into, but they have to practice. But then that means sitting with feeling anxious or a bit low, sitting with feeling lack of failure, because we get them to adjust their standards and make them a bit more flexible. But if you go, and this is what we call core beliefs, if you go for the core beliefs, it's your very foundation too early, it can really destabilise people. So you have to do the scaffolding work, which is the here and now. It provides the scaffolding, start to do things, it starts to loosen things up here, and then we can target those sort of towards the end of therapy. So
it's a good one. Yeah, thank you. Anyone wants to ask? I mean, I really would love to continue listening, but I have a little lecture questions. Thank you. Lack of confidence occurring, but in our case, it's just totally, you can say, successful person. All of a sudden, without having any traumas in the childhood or any reason. Okay, so he just loses confidence, and it could be about anything. Okay, so depending on what is he lacking the confidence about, you can work out who is the one or what is the purpose of the magic. So for example, I will say to you that actually I am thinking of making proposal to your cousin. I want to marry her. And all of a sudden, I lose confidence in my, for example, look. I say, no one likes me, I look very ugly, or I cannot do the marriage because I have sexual impotence. Do you know that type of thing? So lack of confidence to do with the marriage. Or I will say to you, all of a sudden, I cannot go to the proposal to that lady because our family is lower, they are better, her father will say no. So straight away we know that this magic is to break the marriage or to block the marriage. Okay, but let's suppose that I'm very successful businessman, and all of a sudden I lost my confidence. So I'm scared to buy a new product for my shop. Okay, or I'm scared of the taxation or to do with the business. So straight away we know that it is someone, business partners have done the magic, because my lack of confidence to do with the business. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So whatever you lose your confidence towards, so from there you can work out what is the main reason for the magic in here. Okay. So it could be also, for example, let's say I'm academic, I'm professor, let's say in the psychology. All of a sudden, I lose my confidence. I stop going to the lectures, thinking that the audience are not finding my lectures interesting, or I will stop writing articles thinking that there are a lot of errors, and people who read my articles, they find my articles very weak. So from there we know that it is actually to do with the envious colleagues, okay, envious academic colleagues. So based on just by looking at what did I lose my confidence towards, so based on that you can work out, you can guess who is behind this magic. Okay, so that is about this one. And the next type of magic, so I saw it, I think 3 major ones actually. One in Sheffield that was very big. Okay, so that is to do the magic for the insanity. So person totally loses. Okay, so I would say it's one of the major ones. Okay, so one of the strongest ones. Person becomes just insane. Okay, do not confuse 2 things. One is insanity, and the second is some type of extra sensoric, you can say, ability. Okay, so they also act abnormally. We think that they became insane. No, they're not insane, but so it's the same as, can you imagine that we are all sitting deaf, but we can see, but we are all deaf except one person can hear. Okay, so and then sometimes he laughs and sometimes he cries, but because he hears something, but we're all deaf. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So we think that he's insane. No, he's not insane, but he can hear what's happening. Do you understand? So definitely, you know, the eyesight and hearing, it's not only the senses that available there. There could be some extra things which we may not have. Do you know, for example, do you know the leeches? The leeches cannot sense the colors and light. Do you understand? Okay, so some animals do not hear. Do you understand? And some of them do not touch. Do not find the difference between the hot and cold. Do you understand? So we as humans, we have 5 senses. Thinking that in the world, in the universe, there are only things which could be sensed by 5 senses, that is incorrect. There could be some more. But what is the correct thing? The correct thing is human can sense only 5 things. 5 types of beings. Okay, so it is shapes and colors by eye. Okay, sounds, voices by ear. So 5. But there could be another one. And it's very possible that some of the humans may have some equipment. Similarly, we have ear to hear, to detect the sound. So some human may have some other equipment, somehow developed brain or mutation, I don't know. So he can detect something else. It's not the color, it's not sound, it's something totally different. So we do have some of them in the mental hospitals. Okay. So that is also, that is there. So we should not confuse that with what we are talking about. It is actual insane person. Okay. So how do you know, thank you, Jazakumullah khairan. How do you detect the insane person? How do you know if person is insane? Yes.
When someone is not doing normal general things.
Exactly, that's what it is, exactly. So doing abnormal things or doing something irrational things. Okay. Once I remember I was invited for the food. So we started, some sheikh came with a turban, very beautiful, very handsome. And then we started eating. I thought, how should I refer to him? Sheikh or Allama Sahab or Imam, etc. And then we started eating. So as we started eating, he was doing this, do you know, the 2 fingers? Okay, so little bit on the tongue and little bit inside of the nose, a little bit inside of the ears. So I understood that there is mental problems with the person, you know. Later they told me that he has this problem here. So doing irrational things, doing things which does not. So that is the. So that could be as effect of a black magic also. I had 3 cases of a black magic which caused this, and I was unable to cure that. I don't know why. Ruqya, which I knew, did not help. 3 cases in the UK. I was unable to do anything. Okay, so while I was there reciting Ruqya, normal. But as soon as I would leave the house, it would come back. So I don't know if it's possession or something. I couldn't understand why it's not helping. Okay, so sometimes it could be possession, and it's not only one jinn. You go and, for example, you burn one jinn, but the rest are outside. So while you are there inside, they are not there. So when you leave, they come back. That could, but I didn't understand. So it was the insanity, the magic of insanity. So I was just unable to help out the patient. Okay, so till today, time to time, one of them contact me, and I just ignore. Okay, because when I left last time, I said, "I'm sorry, don't contact me. I was unable to help you." So till today, one of them carry on contacting. I just ignore the texts. I don't know what. So maybe if we have some of the maestros of the Ruqya, maybe they can help. But for this type of magic, I couldn't do anything. Okay, for the and also they take him to the mental hospital. Do you know, in the mental hospital they have injection to calm the person down, but it does not affect on him. So they just released him, you know. So drugs and etc. It did not. It's not affecting. I didn't understand the reason. I don't know why. Now, obviously, as you know, there are 2 types of insanities. One is permanent. So person is all the time like. So once he turns to become insane, after that he never comes back to his senses. But there is another one, he becomes insane, but then he comes back to be normal also. Inshallah, we're going to talk about it. Sometimes it's related to the, for example, weather. When it is raining, so it will be. So from there we know that the magic is done on a water. So whenever there is water, humidity, so it just it provokes the magic, you know. Or sometimes if it is done on the fire, they do it on the fire. So when it is hot weather, it provokes. So it depending on what type of magic done on him. So it could be that, or it could be on, you can say, depending on, some of them do it on the, you know, the lunar calendar. Okay, so obviously, you know, in the bright nights, lunar nights, we all have some certain mental conditions, don't we? So 13th and 14th and 15th, okay, of lunar calendar, we all have some certain mental disabilities. So Rasulullah did advise us to fast on these days, just to balance, okay? But besides that, those people, they act very aggressively, depending on the lunar calendar. Okay, so it's different types. Inshallah, we're going to learn about all of that, inshallah. Okay, so that is the magic of the insanity. So for that one, I cannot help, because I did try. With 3 patients, I was unable to do anything for them. So when I would go there, performing ruqya, they come back normal. As soon as I leave, it becomes sometimes even worse, or sometimes just as it was before. Okay, Sayyidi. So the next type of black magic, they call it in Arabic waqf. Okay, so it is just to block the marriage. It is quite similar to the very first one which we spoke about. So just to make it a bit shorter. So in here, they spoil the proposal. Okay, so let's suppose that this lady, I know her, I like her, I want to marry. Okay, but when I want to go with the proposal, all of a sudden I see her as very ugly, or I start finding her defects, or it happens to her. Okay, so everything was perfectly fine, but when I will say to her, okay, tomorrow just prepare your parents, I'm coming with proposal, so straight away she reacts aggressively, saying no, etc. So that is about this one. We have quite a lot, so I think we're not going to expand on that. And the next one is called Tiwala. It's mainly ladies do it, women do it. It is so it is to do with the let's suppose that this lady, she understands, she assumes that her husband does not love her. Then she does tiwala. Okay, tiwala is actually to make someone to fall in love with you. Most of the time it's done by women, and most of the time it's not the wife, but just normal lady. Okay, so you are a successful businessman, or you are handsome, for example, as myself, you know. So then they do the magic to attract. Okay, so I've been getting it a lot because I'm a handsome guy, you know. But I block. I read Yasin, does not affect on me, or else I get it every day. Okay, so it's to do with that, just joking. Actually, we do have a hadith in which Rasulullah speaks very aggressively about it. Okay, saying, comparing this type of magic to even shirk, you know. May Allah forgive us, may Allah protect us. So it is, by myself, I did have a case in which married lady, okay, it was done on a married lady. Okay, so it was this young man, so he wanted to marry her, okay, and but the person, you know, the magician was so strong, he has spoiled the marriage. Yeah, the couple, they were very happily married, okay, but this young man, he loved her, okay, so he wants to marry her, but then for some reason she said no, and then he came back with the money. Okay, and then it happened in Uzbekistan actually, and then he went to this magician, and it was very strong magician, and he has spoiled the marriage, and he made her to fall in love. There was big scandal, to be honest, you know, because it's the same even in Pakistan also, in Asian countries, if you know, married lady, you know, going right and left is big thing, isn't it? So there was big scandal, but at the end she married him. Okay, so I don't know, 2-3 years of big scandal, etc., and then she married him. And it affects, unfortunately, you know. There are some very tough magicians who can do it perfectly. So it works on both sides, you know, because the magician should be very qualified to do this accurately, because it's very possible that some of the ladies may make it to her own husband, but then she will be unable to do it accurately, and then what happens? He will fall in love, but with someone else. Understand? Because normally what do? Normally they do it by the name and mother's name and date of birth, and sometimes pictures. So sometimes doing the ritual non-accurately can make the husband, the victim, to fall in love not with the person, the actual object, but with someone else. It happens also. Okay, and sometimes it could be that person will fall in love with everyone, just any female, you know. So is done non-accurately. So you have to do it properly, you know, if you want to do it, so you have to do it properly, or else it may just go away somewhere else, you know. So because we're talking about it, so there was a case again. So anyway, can you imagine a person, because of this, again, very tough magician, has fallen in love with a dog. Can you imagine that? That was very funny, you know. Yeah, so may Allah protect us from these magicians. So there are quite tough ones out there. So in the UK, in Ketley, we have quite tough one, 2, 3 in Ketley. Non-Muslims. Yeah, so they're working. Ya Allah. Okay, so how do we know that person is affected by this type of magic? So first of all, if person has very so for example cannot stay without seeing her when she is far away or when he is far away, nearly dying, finding pain and missing her or him. Okay, and when they're together, they are obsessed with sexual activities. Okay, impossible that they stop. Okay, so just continuous activities, sexual activities. And another thing, he just listens to her blindly. Whatever she says, he's just ready. If she says, commit suicide, he will do. Actually, he will do, without joke. So because brain does not work anymore, you know, just under the effect of this thing. So for example, she will say, okay, you know, I want, for example, buying gifts for her, gold, silver, etc., you know, cars, and without thinking about the consequence. He may go and borrow money, knowing that he is unable to pay it back, but he will go borrow and he will just spend on her. So straight away you know that it is tiwala, this type of magic. And also another thing, he may also cry. He may cry when she's away. Cannot bear. So you know him, he's a strong person. He has very strong personality, but now he became he became totally different person. When she's away, he cries. Why? Because he's missing her. Understand? So it is this illness. So the last type of black magic that we are going to talk about today is maybe one of the worst types of illness. So it is the magic which causes obsession, sexual obsession. Okay, so a person will be out of control. He cannot control himself. Okay, so he becomes totally, you can say, besharmi, you can say. Okay, so any female, married, non-married, he doesn't really care. Okay, so practicing non-righteous, he will just go for anyone and everyone. Okay, and it is caused. Our scholars have spoken about it a lot, actually. Okay, and we do have this type of people who have no shame of doing this type of magic. Okay, mainly they do it to ruin the reputation of some family. They do it on their son, for example, and he doesn't care about if people see him. So he's ready to do it in the public also. He becomes careless because brain is not working anymore. All he cares about is this. Okay, totally, you can say besharmi. If you remember that hadith, Rasulullah actually did cure this type of illness, but he did cure it with the rational reasoning and then by his blessed palm. Do you remember? This young man came to Rasulullah saying, Ya Rasulullah, please can you give me permission to commit this? Okay, so the adultery. So Rasulullah said, if you remember, the Sahaba were there. Oh, they wanted to just beat him up. Oh, just shouting. Rasulullah said, just leave him alone. And then he said, just come over here. The young man came. Rasulullah said, do you like someone doing this to your mother? He said, no. So Rasulullah said, the person, the lady with whom you want to do it is someone's mother also. And do you like anyone to do it to your sister? And repeating the same thing, and then your daughter. Okay? And then at the end, Rasulullah placed his hand. It is our ritual. When we do the ruqya, we use our palm, okay, and then on the chest. Because the effect of this type of sihr is on the heart. Okay, so placing Rasulullah his palm on the chest of the Sahabi, and then he made dua. Rasulullah made dua. Okay, hadith is very well known. Obviously, there is some weakness in the chain, but I do consider that it is authentic. Okay, because it is actually, it's very real. I mean, it works. So then this young Sahabi said, when I was going to ask for permission for the adultery, I was just dying to commit it. I was loving it. Okay, but when I was, after whatever Rasulullah did to me, so when I was leaving, it was the most hated thing for me. Because he woke up. Do you understand? So even it could be you. So while you are under the effect, you don't feel, you know. Now if I will ask you, do you want to do it? Well, you find, how come? Are you talking to me? Okay, but when you're under the effect of this, you don't really care. Okay, and when ruqya is performed on you perfectly, you wake up and then you say, is it possible that I was thinking of doing it? Impossible. Because you are like under drugs, you know. You don't really feel. You don't really think about what you do. Hey Allah. Okay, so that is the last type of a black magic. So, obviously the symptoms of this type of illness is very well known. So your friend all of a sudden will start complaining about it. Okay, so he wants to do it. He doesn't really care. Male, female, doesn't really care. So he wants to just empty himself. Okay, so he's ready to. So from there you can understand. Inshallah, we're going for a very short break to have some refreshments, and after that we will go to our last session, inshallah. It would be much more. Okay, but we just spoke about the most common ones. So now let's try to list the symptoms of the black magic, which we have already done. Okay, very briefly. First of all, if you are not experienced in the field, so it's better for you to not to say that it is black magic and that is not. Because as you saw, we have psychology and we have physical illnesses and we have black magic. Sometimes it's so similar. Okay, so it could be the same thing. For example, moving pain. So it is the symptom of the black magic. But some may think that, actually this is physical illness. Well, if you're not experienced either in this or that, it's very difficult for you to know which one is which. Okay, so it requires a bit of practice and a bit of experience until you become expert. So you know straight away that it is actually a black magic. And also, there is another a bit of suspicious behavior. Do you know, some of the practitioners, they may ask you a few questions. It could be your name, your mother's name, or few details, and based on that, they may give you the history of the illness. Do you remember the story of Sayyidah Aisha with that Sindhi Indian guy? Okay, so when he said that Sayyidah Aisha has got effect of black magic, so Sayyidah Aisha asked him, who is the one who did it? Do you remember? He described. It is a female, middle-aged or whatever. And then he actually said, right now, she's holding a newborn baby and passing what, etc. Do you remember? And Sayyidah Aisha did accept it. Because it is the specialty of that person. So he knows. Okay? But unfortunately, in our Muslim, you can say, fellows, among Muslim fellows, we have this misunderstanding. They say if someone is doing it, if someone knows how to detect the black magic, means he is the magician. No, he's not a magician. So it's exactly as that person, Indian person, who visited Sayyidah Aisha. How did he know? Well, he knows because it's his expertise. It's exactly as doctor knows that you have let's say, urine infection. How does doctor know it? Well, it's his experience. I mean, it's his expertise. So in the same way, the person of the ruqya, he will know based on some certain symptoms, which he knows. Do you understand? Yeah. But also, within that, we do have quite a lot of non-experienced people. They may just say things, but it could be wrong also. Okay, so today you have got in your worksheets, you have the list of ahadith which is talking about this qarin and the what we call now saya business. Do you know the meaning of saya? Who knows? Saya, yeah, but in Pakistan they use saya for something else also, isn't it? In Arabic we call that, that is the literal meaning. But saya is qarin. In Arabic, qarin or... So it is the jinnat that, you know, the amils use. That is called saya, isn't it? Are you aware of that? Yeah. So today also, if we have a time, we have list of ahadith related to that. We're going to discuss that also. Okay? Saidi, what did you say? Till when we're doing the...
The Asr prayer is at 4 o'clock, so the Adhan will be done
5 to 4.
So you got till 4 o'clock anyway.
Yeah. So we'll try to squeeze that also in. Okay. Okay. So anyway, so now let's do it together, please. So what are the symptoms that we have learned so far? I will start off. The first one is sudden change in behavior. This is the most common sign of the black magic. Okay, so what is the, so for example, person all of a sudden he loses confidence in himself, or all of a sudden anxiety, he will be scared about everything, or all of a sudden he falls in love and he cries. So behavior changes upside down within second time. So, I mean within seconds. So it's very possible that as soon as black magic effects, so it will be full package of effects. So it's not that, for example, over 2 or 3 days. No. It may happen straight away. Everything but at once. Understand? So that is one symptom. And anything else? Who remembers? Let's try to list everything.
Evil thoughts.
Exactly. So that is mainly to do with the marriage, isn't it? So it will be mainly between this husband and wife, spouses, okay? So they were perfectly fine, loving couple, and all of a sudden, husband will start doubting. Even if she goes to the kitchen and stay there for just a bit, couple of seconds longer, that is sufficient for him to make up full story of unfaithfulness. So evil thoughts, yes, exactly. Anything else? What we have discussed so far? Yes?
And when he thinks of like the wife's ugly and doesn't love.
Exactly, yeah. She's perfectly fine. But for some reason, he sees her very ugly. Or she sees him very ugly. But they were perfectly fine. It is just effect of the magic. Okay? So you cannot convince the affected person. So even she will see something which does not exist. Understand? Yeah. Okay, anything else?
Shaykh, I put inverted thoughts.
Yes.
So everything is
Exactly.
down. So
Exactly.
He looks as enemies. but
Yes.
then-
He's unable. So brain is not functioning properly. Okay, so thinking upside down. Okay, so the person, he was so strong, so wise to know who is his enemy and who is his friends, but now he's just mixing it up. He's unable to think on a healthy way. Okay, so for example, did you ever had in your life someone, could be your son, your father, it could be one of your relatives, etc., who everyone sees that what he is doing wrong and advises him, but he doesn't listen to anyone, but listens only to one person. Did you ever experience this thing? I had few cases, my relatives. It was to do with that, falling in love, tiwala. The person lost everything, lost everything, sold his own house, just only for that lady. And if you just look at her, there is nothing special. Sometimes you understand, sometimes you think that, well, yes, selling, disposing the house, everything, because there is something special in there. No, there is nothing special. It's just only a black magic. And even she was below average also. Not even average, but below average. It's just magic. Tiwala. Okay. Okay. Another thing, it's two things also, just by looking at the eye, you can know. So the eye will be abnormal. Either it will be as dead. Okay. So when you look, for example, when you look at the eye, you see a meaning. Person is actually, there is meaning in the eye. But this person is totally dead. You look at his eyes, it's dead eyes. Or very bright eyes. Extremely bright. Do you understand? So when we are happy, yes, it is bright, but it's not all the time. Bright, but let's say 1 hour. And after that comes down. But this person, this light never switches off. It stays bright all the time. Or dead all the time. Understand? It's also quite common. And another thing, when you read some certain surahs, mainly Surah Baqarah, okay, Surah Naml, Muzammil, okay, Surah Al-Jinn, okay, so these surahs, major surahs of the Ruqya, he reacts abnormally. He may cry, he may yawn, he may laugh, he may make movements, okay, different movements. He may fall unconscious, he may fall asleep. So, you can say strange reaction to the recitation. Okay, so that's also common. And also, it happens sometimes that you practice ruqya, then you start reading the ruqya, and then person speaks back. You think that it is the jinn speaking. Jinn does not speak straight away. Understand? The person, so even we do feel it, normal people, we do feel it. There is this condition in which you are not fully asleep, but you are not fully awake also. You are in between. You still sense. So in that condition, it is you who is acting. When you do the ruqya on the possessed person, so you have to wait till he falls unconscious fully. Then jinn will start speaking. Understand? But before that, when you speak to him, it's himself who is speaking. Understand? So, but then they start. Ruqya does not affect on that. First, you have to switch off the person fully. Okay. And also sometimes it is just lie, false. I had this case. It is young girl actually. Young girl came with her mother. So her mother said that her daughter started acting strangely. Okay, well, obviously I made all of the checks. I understood there is nothing wrong. I recited ruqya, and then she imitated that she has fallen unconscious, etc. Well, I can see, I know when a person genuinely falls unconscious and jinn starts speaking, etc. And then, another people who did watch the horror movie and try to imitate that, I know the difference between the possessed and the horror actor, You cannot do it to me, Okay, so it's just little girl, on the age of my daughter maybe. I don't know, 15, 16 years old, just little girl. And then, so I started, and then I said, okay, let's entertain her, let's entertain the jinn. So then I said, okay, what's your name? So he said, blum, 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 something like that, some shrumbrum or something like that, name, very strange name. I see that it is her. Okay, I said, where did you come from? She's Pakistani girl, Pakistani family. She said, from Saudi Arabia. Well, I said, then Saudi jinns, they speak in Saudi language, I spoke in Arabic language, And then she replied, Subhanallah, mashallah. It's just normal, Pakistani, words. We all say Subhanallah, mashallah, do you know? So I asked in Arabic, what is your name? Understand? And how old are you? And she responded, MashaAllah, Subhan, Bismillah, something like that, which everyone knows. So trying to convince me that it is jinn who speaks in Arabic. I said, okay, now we can wake her up, And then I said, just leave the house, leave the room. And then I spoke to her mother. It was obviously before I did the ruqya, I took all of the details. So do you know the sources of fear, etc. And then I understood one thing. So there was the problem was she was scared about a sin she committed. But so it did affect her, and she's now in between, in between two fires. If she admits, it's big shame. But if she hides, it will get exposed. So then I said to her mother, I said, actually, I'm scared that there is some mistake. And she is scared, actually. So she is unable to comprehend. That is giving her pain, so it is just psychological problem. So I said, you have to just speak her, just make her to speak out. First, you have to make her to feel confident in you and to open up. Later, her mother contacted me saying that, yeah, so there was some sin actually, there was some mistake. Okay, well, it happens, isn't it? So she was imitating to be possessed. Because sometimes when you do something wrong, it just puts mental or psychological pressure on you. Sometimes it gives you pain, and then you start acting on unhealthy way. So I said that is my. So later she contacted me and then she said, yes, X, Y, Z happened. Okay, so so she was afraid of her father. I mean, the mother was afraid of the father of the daughter after. So anyway, sometimes that happens also. So the genuine Saudi jinn speaks in Saudi language, Okay, and then another thing is how do they do the magic? Okay, so obviously it's very well known. There are many types. The most difficult ones are the hidden black magic. What do? So they make the magic and then they hide it somewhere. Until you find that thing and dispose it, magic will stay there. Very small number of top Raqi people, they can dispose the magic without disposing the object of the magic. Okay, so what do? So even if you remember that hadith, okay, so obviously it was about someone else. I don't know. So they may do the magic on the hair, just picking up your hair, okay, and then making the ritual on it, and then burying it somewhere. So the expert, so he can find where is it buried, or he can destroy the magic even if that object is still there available. Do you understand? But normal Raqis, they have to find it and they have to dispose it in the ruqya water, or else that will carry on living. Okay, and sometimes, do you know what do? Yeah, we have immature kids. Yeah. So sometimes they hide it even in the graves, in the bodies actually, So until you dispose it, it's still there. Are you guys okay? Yeah. No, behind also, because we have. Are you okay? Yeah. How old are you? 16. You shouldn't be here. It's a bit scary. We are telling scary stories for the uncles, Yeah, for the uncles and aunties. Yes.
You can't find it, sometimes.
Yeah, so when you practice it, you know exactly what is it, if it's hair, and you know exactly where it is buried.
Even nails could be, isn't it?
They do it, so in here it's mainly nails and hairs, and also they do the table also. Even we, in the herbal mess, we use the table also. But they use it for that black magic thing. Yeah, and also...
It's not detected, where it is.
Very difficult, sometimes very difficult, sometimes it depends. So you are making the Raqi guy and the magician to fight one with another. The strongest will win. Do you understand? So we think that Raqi wins all the time. No. Sometimes magician is so well off, impossible to beat him. So sometimes that happens also. Yeah. Okay, so that is the hidden object. Unless you find it and you dispose it in the ruqya water, you cannot do anything with it. So ruqya water is very easy. Okay, so do you do dhikr sessions here, Sayyidi? Do you do? Just come to the dhikr session with a bottle of water, leave the lid open while everyone is doing dhikr. Okay? And when dhikr is done, just close it and take. This is ruqya water, very strong one. Yes?
That can happen in a house as well. So if brothers and sisters want to get into the house, dhikr day,
yes.
that is also
Even that charges, yes, that does the job, you know. Yeah. So, but sometimes you may need more specific. Okay, for that we need from the raqi, actual raqi. So he will specifically prepare for the evil eye, okay, for the illness. So that is, but the general ruqya water, just for well-being, etc. Zikr session, that is good enough. But you do every time just 1 cup. Okay, every day 1 cup. It will do. Okay, so disposing the magic things in that water will do. Yeah. So that is one, and the another one is also they do the thing on the picture or on your doll. Until you get rid of it, it stays. Okay, so for example, I will take your picture. I will do the ruqya on the needle. So 1 needle with full ritual of ruqya hits only 1 part. So I do on your heart. And just I leave it there. As long as the needle, the ritual needle is inside of the heart, so you will carry on continuously having the heart problems. You go to the doctors, nothing wrong, but the problem is in there. Okay, and then you have to find the picture, you have to remove it. You have to dispose it. Or on the kidney, or they do your doll. They do have specific thing, you know, and even they specify the type of the magic they want to do. As you know, there are 4 types of magics, isn't it? Do you know these water, fire, do you know, them 4 elements. So there are 4 types of magic. So they specify under the effect of planets. I don't know how do they do it. And then based on that, so before that they find dust. Pure dust. Pure dust means, even we use the pure dust, it is the dust which is not stepped by the people. So you have to find some mountains, etc. Okay, so that discharges the negative energy also, but also that is used to do magic on you. So by using that, they make your shape, your doll, okay, or your sculpture. So that is you actually. And then performing the ritual, somehow they link you with this. And they just leave it there, just to control you. So somehow they do the needles, or even they may control somehow your decisions. So all of that is to do with that. Until you go and destroy that, your sculpture there, okay, so effect will be continuous. Yes, Eni.
Can they do black magic on the undergarments which are left, you know, person, say a man or woman?
Exactly.
The undergarments, just leave it open.
Yes, yeah.
It comes and sees
Yes,
it up.
yes. So anything to do with you, they do all of that, Sadie. They do anything to do with you, they do. So even they may just get my coat, and they do in it also. Yes, so they do. They can do in any of them. What is the most common one in here in the UK?
Food.
Food. We're going to talk about it. In terms of the objects, it's nails and hair. That's what I found. And then they do no. They do that table. Yeah. Picture is, I think, mainly Romanians do the picture, and isn't it? Caribbeans, they do the dolls. Yeah, so it's their practice. But yes, Eddie.
Could it be done by jinns rather than humans?
In our time, they do so the well-off experts of magic, they don't need the jinns to do. They do it directly on you. But just average ones, they use the muwakkala, jinnat, to do magic on you. Yeah, but we have got experts. They don't need jinnat. They do it directly on you. Yes, Eddie.
Can the jinns do it without any human interference?
Yeah. Sometimes they fall in love. Then it's just, you finish. You are Hanafi, aren't you?
Yeah.
we Hanafis say not permissible to marry jinns, but Shafi'i say you can. So you have to convert into the Shafi'ism, yes. Yeah. Quran says, Allah says, in Yawm al-Qiyamah, Ya ayyuhal jinn, qad istakfartum min al-ins. O jinns, in Yawm al-Qiyamah, Allah will speak to jinns saying, O jinns, so istakfartum, scholars disagree. What's the meaning of istakfartum in Arabic language means, is coming from the root of kathir, a lot. Istakfartum means taking a lot or doing a lot. Okay, so what is the meaning of istakfartum min al-ins? Some scholars said you have been playing with the humans a lot. Okay, but some said you have been enslaving them a lot. Enslaving in here could mean falling in love. Okay, and it also could mean that using magicians. Because you know the top magicians, they go into the isolation to speak with the unseen, isn't it? So that is istakfartum. So jinnat are the ones who are directing them, you know. Jinnat are the ones who are calling. So as God, through the angels, calls the messengers, so that's how Iblis, through the jinnat, calls messengers, chooses them and gives them some certain equipments like knowledge, isn't it? So in Yawm al-Qiyamah, Allah will say, O shayateen, you jinnat, you have actually got enslaved a lot of excessive amount of humans. So that interaction. So we also heard strange stories about UFO and these green creatures, isn't it? Jinnat, isn't it? Jinnat just show us in different form, show themselves, you know, showing themselves in different forms and just playing with the human mind, you know. Yeah, so
Sheikh, on that level, are humankind stronger than jinnat in mind?
potentially yes. Potentially. So if you remember, do you remember in the Surah An-Naml? Okay, so who are the strongest? When Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam said, who is the one who is going to bring the throne? Okay, and then Jinn said, Ifrit is Pari. You know the Pari, fairy. So Ifrit is the most strongest and most knowledgeable type of jinnat. Okay, so Ifrit, what Ifrit said, I will be able to bring it before you will even get up. Okay, and then what about the human? What did he say? Even blink. Yeah, so humans potentially are strong, but we do not practice our nature fully. We practice animal nature, don't we? So that's why we're not up to the standards of humans. We are in the level of animals because we are driven by animalistic desires. But the friend of Sulaiman, Asif bin Barkhia, he was human, full. Okay, so as Shaykh Akbar says, Muhyiddin, al-insanul kamil, perfect human. Okay, so when we reach to the level of perfect human, Allah grants us a knowledge. So if you remember Adam alayhi salam, okay, but because we're not up to the, so it's the same as, do you know, for example, wolf. When wolf becomes mature, so by intuition, it knows how to hunt. It's just granted. Do you understand? Yeah. Okay, so that's how when human becomes mature, like proper human, so automatically he will gain that knowledge, you know, just granted. So how to bring, for example, big throne of king or queen from Yemen to Jerusalem, okay, during the time, like on the period of blinking eye, on the blink of eye. So it's just, so that is knowledge, okay, granted by God. Okay, Allah says, وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ وَاسْتَوَى آتَيْنَاهُ عِلْمًا وَحُكْمًا وَكَذَلِكَ. So when he became mature, we just granted him knowledge. And that's how we reward the muhsin people, noble people, humans. That's how we grant the humans. Okay, but unfortunately, the vast majority of us, we are yet in the animalistic level, you know, like morally and spiritually. But so anyway, yes, humans are stronger than jinnat, said, but animals are weaker than jinnat. Yeah, so that's why we're yet in there. So we cannot be as and very briefly, okay, so, and then another is the fed, the black magic which is fed. That is also very difficult, okay. There is this way of removing it. I don't know, I never done it, I don't know how to do it. Okay, by recitation they will make you to vomit it out. Okay, one of my relatives, he does it. I don't know how. So he just recites, okay, then carries on reciting and lifting it until you just vomit out, and then he shows you that thing which you have been fed. Okay, so.